Okay.
Like something that we wore in like the early 90s.
I don't know. I used to wear it a lot when I was younger. I think it's just like simple, preppy.
I don't really wear Gap, but
It's like not worth the price.
I know it's like more like basic and funny and like
Really casual
it's like,
clothing,
it's like
but
normal
expensive
clothing.
price.
got it.
And it's like people would rather buy like H&M or like something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brand has kind of like died in the past couple of years.
Not what you wanted to hear? Well, let's change that.
Has Gap lost its brand identity? For decades, Gap Inc. was renowned as the arbiter of cool, casual American style. But like a favorite pair of jeans showing a few signs of distress, and we don't mean that in a stylish way, so too is the brand showing more than a few signs of wear and tear.
Gap announced Monday that 175 stores across North America will close their doors and 250 corporate jobs will soon be dropped. To put those numbers in perspective, 1/4 of Gap's North American stores will vanish, and the company will lose about $300 million in sales annually, according to the New York Times.
Your market share has tumbled significantly, and all sales are down compared to last year, a downward trend that has continued for the last 4 years. Of course, Gap's gloomy forecast isn't helped by the fact that so-called fast fashion brands have upended the retail fashion industry that Gap once dominated, offering the latest runway styles in weeks and at cheap, affordable prices to boot. Zara, H&M, and other fast fashion brands are killing it. Not only are they extremely popular amongst young shoppers, but they've also achieved critical acclaim for their fashion-forward, edgy styles. In contrast, Gap is struggling to keep up. Once known for their casual basics like plain t-shirts and jeans, now customers are saying that it's an old tired brand, a mom brand, and maybe worst of all, stuck in the 90s. But your company hasn't always been struggling. In fact, it was the polar opposite. It made its name as a youthful, forward-thinking brand. From 1990 to 1999, Gap sales went from a mere $1.9 billion to $11.6 billion, and many experts agree that Gap's popularity wouldn't have been possible without this little campaign.
Baby, baby, it looks like it's gonna hail. Baby, baby, it looks like it's gonna hail. You better come inside, let me teach you how to jive and wheel. Oh, you gotta jump and jive and then you really gotta jump and jive and then you really gotta jump and jive and then you really
However, as we mentioned earlier, there are now signs of stress. Over the last 5 years, your brand has experienced a steady decline in retail apparel market share from 5.1% to 4.7%.
Your latest campaign focusing on the hashtag #NothingButDenim is all over the brand's social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest, along with photos that represent a California lifestyle.
It's just something that's ingrained in you, something that you grew up with.
From my grandfather to my uncles and now to me, denim has been the look.
This lifestyle is being conveyed with images of the ocean, palm trees, and young people style in denim at the beach. These communications strongly suggest that Gap's intended target audience are millennials, because the photo features generally young, attractive models. The use of a hashtag also targets millennials, because research has shown millennials are the most active on social media. Even the tone and aesthetic of the photos borrow from a cool California hipster style. Although the brand's current positioning is that they provide nothing but denim, in actuality, Gap is a global apparel company with finest quality clothing, offering pieces to achieve a casual yet cool American style. On the surface, Gap's Nothing But Denim campaign seems like a step in the right direction, but a closer look at its two major competitors, H&M and Zara, reveals it has a long way to go. As we mentioned earlier, these two dominating players are the leaders in the so-called fast fashion trend. Yet, it's important to note that these two companies have become the leaders in quite different ways. On one hand, there's H&M. Headquartered in Sweden, H&M is known all over the world for its chic, stylish, yet affordable clothes. They're known for their flashy, eye-catching designer collaborations. They have partnered with top-of-the-line fashion designers like Stella McCartney and Karl Lagerfeld. Their collaboration last year with Balmain was sold out in minutes and sparked so much buzz that on social media it became known as Balmania. H&M has also become well known for its celebrity brand ambassadors, such as David Beckham and Queen Bee herself. On the other end, there's Zara. Headquartered in Spain, Zara is the Gigi Hadid to H&M's Kendall Jenner. A little bit more high fashion, a little bit more upscale. Unlike H&M, they do not invest a lot of money in advertising. Instead, they prefer to make a statement through distinctive, unique locations in prime, exclusive places like Fifth Avenue in New York City. In doing so, they aim to provide shoppers with a high-end, luxurious shopping experience at affordable mass-market prices. What do such strong competitors mean for the Gap? Well, for one thing, Zara and H&M's fast fashion business model means Gap is less able to adapt as quickly to changing consumer preferences. To give a more complete picture, Zara reportedly receives new styles at least 2 times a week, while H&M reportedly does so daily. On another level, both stores are able to offer a significant wider array of styles, whereas Gap, unfortunately, is just known as a casual brand.
However, we wanted to dig even deeper into consumers' perceptions of Gap to find out specific areas where it was especially lagging behind. To that end, we conducted 4 types of consumer research: consumer observation, interviews, sentiment analysis, and a qualitative survey. So, what were our key findings from our consumer research? First, we found that price, fit, and quality were the most important factors in influencing consumers' purchasing decisions. When shopping for clothes, above all, consumers are looking for a reasonable price and good quality. Moreover, when there is a sale, it will often directly drive people to purchase an item. Second, we found that people tend to have brand loyalty. In other words, they tend to look for specific brands when shopping for clothes. Third, we found that Gap has a blurred brand image among consumers. For instance, we determined this by asking participants which age groups they believe to be Gap's primary target market. As you can see here, the results are all over the place, with no age group dominating the other. This mismatch may further hinder consumers' brand loyalty to Gap. Interestingly, although consumers weren't sure about Gap's target audience, they did in fact associate the Gap as a brand for staple, basic clothing. Over half of our survey respondents chose Gap when asked where they would buy their staple items. Finally, the last interesting finding from our research is that many participants tended to describe Gap with the following words: simple, basic, jeans, classic, quality, comfort, and everyday. This can be interpreted as a promising sign because it matches consumers' preferred style, which many described as classic, minimal, and professional. However, on the more negative end, they also use words like expensive, boring, I don't know, and older. This means that Gap really has to work hard to address its boring image, especially since 60% of our respondents also emphasized that being trendy was a necessary and important factor in their clothes shopping.
We conducted a SWOT analysis in order to summarize these key insights from our research. We determined that the major strengths for Gap are its classic product offerings, which include staple denim pieces and basics, its frequent and popular sales and good quality of clothing apparel. However, consumers tend to think of Gap as a mom brand with outdated clothes. In addition, Gap lacks effective and seamless integration of its communications across traditional, digital, and online media, with tiring, repetitive visuals across platforms and disjuncture between marketing elements within platforms. Following this weakness, there is also a lack of consumer engagement online with the brand. This is evident in the low levels of consumer-generated content surrounding Gap, especially on social media. This absence further fails to support a lively Gap online community. Despite such shortcomings, there are still key opportunities for Gap to establish itself in a crowded retail market. Gap should showcase to consumers the versatility and utility of its staple pieces when creating everyday outfits. This presents an opportunity to show millennials how Gap clothing can fit their on-the-go lives in multiple ways. As for threats, fast fashion brands like H&M and Zara and cheaper clothing stores continue to pose major threats to Gap. An interviewee response highlights this well by stating, "If it's too expensive for something that I can find for cheaper at H&M or Forever 21, I won't buy it." Our team has assessed and managed these threats in order to ensure an effective future marketing communications plan. The main objective of the campaign will be to change millennial consumers' negative perception of Gap from a mom brand to a classic, versatile brand. To revive the Gap brand, we propose several recommendations to direct our marketing strategy. The target audience for the campaign will be millennial women. Specifically, we will be targeting females ages 20 to 35 using various lifestyle angles and stages, including those who travel, work, and are mothers. To address consumer sentiment indicating Gap as a brand for white people, we want to make sure the marketing communications represents women from a range of ethnicities and backgrounds, using diverse models and actresses for the campaign to appeal to a larger audience. So why focus on millennials and why women? Young female consumers represent a profitable and target consumer market for the Gap brand. And since millennials are bombarded with different brands to choose from, Gap needs to rethink how it communicates with them in a way other brands aren't, in order to inform, persuade, and remind them about Gap's products. Here's where the facts come in. The purchasing power of millennials is estimated to be $170 billion per year. Women drive 70 to 80% of all consumer purchasing through a combination of their buying power and influence. And close to half of millennial females shop for apparel more than twice a month, versus 36% of older females. To capture this millennial audience, Gap's strategy should re-emphasize three key aspects: quality, affordability, and timeless classics. Our agency believes that Gap should highlight jeans, t-shirts, tank tops, and denim jackets, since they are the classic and staple clothing products sold consistently at Gap over the years. The basics will help to convey the utility and versatility of Gap's clothes by specifically focusing on what the brand does best: basics. After all, we want to remind consumers that a long-lasting pair of jeans and a classic white tee will always be in style. The unique marketing positioning for the campaign is cool, quality basics, which reflects our desire to elevate Gap to the same level as Zara and H&M. But who knew millennials would be harder to convince than Obama? Showing millennials that Gap is a versatile, cool brand that fits into their evolving lifestyles and varying stages will help connect Gap with consumers on a personal level and convince them that your products are perfect for their busy lifestyles and should be essential parts of their wardrobe.
So, to change millennial consumers' perception of Gap from a mom brand to a classic, versatile brand, our team believes that Gap should literally go back to basics. Our new integrated marketing campaign for 2016 will emphasize the necessity and versatility of basics for every closet, for every occasion, for every aspect of a woman's young adult life. To that end, our proposed creative strategy is Gap, basics that take on life. Now, we know using the word basic can be a little risky considering our target audience. Being basic doesn't exactly mean a good thing nowadays, according to our trusted sources. But we are confident that with timeless Gap basics, we can turn that perception around. With our campaign, we want to stress that basics, whether a jean jacket or jeans or a plain white t-shirt, are foundational pieces in any woman's closet. They can easily adapt to her work hard, play hard lifestyle. Empowering and positive in tone, our campaign will emphasize that with Gap basics, young women can take on the opportunities in their lives head on. At the same time, we know that life isn't like an Instagram filter. It can be a hot mess too. Our campaign will embrace the more humorous and imperfect aspects of life for women in this stage. We will execute our creative idea in an integrated marketing campaign focusing on TV and social media. Our key research findings indicate that the best way to interact with this target audience is through social media and digital ads, but we added an interactive twist. Without further ado, let us show you our 6 executions for basics that take on life. To anchor our campaign, we will launch our 30-second TV spot. We wanted to show just how versatile and essential Gap basics are. So we wondered what would happen if we combined Gap basics with 4 of today's hottest fashion influencers on social media. Following this, we will launch 10-second videos showing each of the 4 women. These shorter clips will showcase how they each took on our Gap Basics challenge. Now after these videos, our audience must be curious to find out more. And that's where social media comes in. On Instagram, we will regram the influencers' posts to show how they're using Gap basics over the course of the challenge. We obviously don't want to forget to keep it humorous and lighthearted too. Gap is always shown in a preppy, picture-perfect way, but we know that life isn't perfect. It has its many messy moments. Given the immense popularity of reality versus expectation memes, we want to use Facebook to showcase this theme of our campaign. We also thought it'd be funny and eye-catching to have these ads in billboards in popular retail areas. Finally, we're throwing down a challenge for our audience too. We want our Gap followers on social media to show us your basics, showcasing the ways they use Gap basics in their everyday lives. We will cross-post this flyer across all our social media accounts with a link to our website so that we will redirect our visitors to our e-commerce site. We will pick 5 winners and one of their lucky friends and will fly them out to a major US city for a weekend adventure. Millennials love to travel, so why not let them take their Gap basics along for the ride? Last but not least, we won't forget about Gap website. Our campaign will be featured prominently to tie all of our elements together.
Now, let's talk numbers. Your marketing budget from previous years is approximately $137 million. The campaign we are proposing stays within the budget of $137 million. We have allocated the budget accordingly, and to ensure the veracity of it, we estimated the budget using 2 methods: percentage of gross sales and estimates based on the previous year. The media mix here will provide you the best use of your budget. Because our target market is often on social media, over half of our budget will go towards ads on Facebook and Instagram, followed by 37% of the budget towards television ads. In addition, we have allocated 7% of the budget to have ads on streaming platforms such as YouTube and Hulu. The remaining budget will be put towards outdoor billboards, the Fashion Influencer Challenge, and the sweepstakes. The flattening chart here is designed to reach our target market. Although social media will be utilized all year round, the 30-second television ad will appear during shows that are popular amongst millennial women, such as Scandal and Grey's Anatomy, which are only on during certain months of the year.
Just to recap, the goal of our campaign is to change millennial women's perception of Gap, from a mom brand to a versatile brand. Given our goal, our main evaluation strategy will be surveys. We will take a survey before we launch our campaign as our baseline. Then, every 6 months till the end of our campaign, we will implement follow-up surveys to track if our target audience perceptions of the Gap brand are truly changing, obviously for the better, and if not, adjust accordingly. The secondary way we will measure the success of our campaign is by tracking consumer engagement. On social media platforms, this means tracking the number of likes, shares, comments, regrams, and other forms of consumer activity both before, during, and after the campaign. For more traditional channels like our broadcast TV and outdoor ads, we still want to keep track of audience and viewers. We will keep a close eye on TV Nielsen numbers for the TV programs, and we will place outdoor ads in high-traffic retail areas.
We understand your brand is struggling, and we want to work with you to help change that. Our agency strongly believes that with this campaign, we can change perceptions among millennial women and make Gap's basics cool and desirable. Basics that take on life is a relatable message that will assure millennial women that Gap basics are versatile enough to get them through just about anything. Emphasizing Gap's classic products in an empowering and humorous tone will be authentic to the Gap brand while also embracing real-life experiences of millennial women. We're up for the challenge. Let's make basics a good thing.
I thought I would know better. That's wishful thinking, thought there'd be no pressure. That's wishful drinking, is anything forever?